Hello, my name is Abigail Criollo and I will be teaching about data analysis, a little bit more about bar graphs that we were learning about last week, and as well as double bar graphs. And the objective is for data analysis, the student applies mathematical process standards to solve problems by collecting data, organizing the data, displaying it, and interpreting it, which is what we'll also be practicing today, interpreting data. And graphs bring data to life and help us draw conclusions about the information presented. In the lesson, the students will learn how to create the bar graphs as well as double bar graphs and practice interpreting them. Okay, so morning class. So we are going to go over today more about bar graphs. We're going to first create our class bar graph, and you're going to help me create the elements that we need to create a bar graph. Okay. So originally this paper would be blank, and I would do it with the students, which is what I was doing, but my video cut off earlier because I ran out of space. So originally it was blank, and so with the students we will create our bar graph. So I already would have the title up, which for our class bar graph today is, the title is Our Class's Favorite Sport to Watch or Play. So we're going to get the data from the classroom and we're going to get the favorite sports. So I would ask them, okay, what do we need first to create our bar graph? And the answers I would be looking for, is a title, our x-axis, our y-axis, labeling it. So yes, class, that is correct. We do need our y-axis and our x-axis. And remember, you always have to label. So this is our x-axis, and this is our y-axis, our title. So since our graph today is going to be about our class's favorite sport to watch or play, then for our category, what do you think it would be? Right, our category would be different sports. So for category, we will put sports. And then for our y-axis, what do you think we would need then for that? Right, we would need number of students. So for our y-axis, the title is number of students, and that will tell us what is being counted. Good job, Amy, yes. And can you tell me what else we would need to start off with that we would already have off the bat? Good job, Brian. Yes, that is correct. It is our scale, and our scale always starts at 0. Good job, class. So we'll put 0. Okay, so what type of sports should we put for our bar graph today? Basketball, okay. Basketball. Football. Football. Cheer, dance, okay. Dance and swimming. All right, good job. Those are good categories. Okay, class. So what we're gonna do next is I'm gonna give out sticky notes to each of you, and then I will call you up table by table so you can get your sticky notes and put them under your favorite sport to play or to watch. All right. So girls, y'all can get pink. Boys, y'all will get the blue ones, okay? And then I'll call you up table by table to come make your selections. All right, good job, class. And so for the sake of the video, I won't do it over, but my bar graph originally should be, really, really big, so my sticky notes can go to their numbers accurately, and the students will be able to see that. But since it's just, my paper, it was a little bit small, so I had to stack them on top of each other. But I would ask the students, what do you notice right off the bat with our bar graph? Right, so we noticed that no girls chose football, that they like football to play or to watch. Good job. So now, class, what we're gonna do for our bar graph is we're gonna actually interpret. We're able to get more information out of this bar graph. Instead of just one variable of sports that we see who likes what best, we're able to see which girls like which sports best, which boys like which sports best. So we're able to get two variables out of this graph, which will then create our double bar graph. So let me go ahead and separate the girls from the boys and see how the numbers change or stay the same. Okay, class, so now we can see our different variables for the sports. Because a double bar graph, you're able to compare across two variables. We're able to compare sports, and now we're also able to compare gender to these specific sports. So as we can see here, we had 4 boys favor basketball and 2 girls favor basketball. On football, you can see we had 5 boys favor basketball and no girls favored basketball. On dance, we had 4 girls favor dance and 2 boys favor dance. And on swimming, we had 4 girls favor dance and 3 boys favor dance. So this was really good. Now we can see that swimming is a very well-liked sport, and it's almost even in our class. We had 4-to-3 ratio, so it's almost an even amount. Football was straight 100% boys. There was no amount for girls. Basketball is very well liked by boys, half 50% by girls, as far as this being 100% to 50%, and same thing with dance. Mostly girls, 50% boys. So now class, what we are going to do is we're going to create another bar graph. You're going to be able to create your own bar graph. Let me get that. Okay, class. So you're going to be able to create your own bar graph, and you're going to be able to get your own data. But before you go ahead and do that, we're going to do one together with data already provided. So what do we need? We need a title. So this data provided is already with information about hours of TV watched. So the background behind this information that we already have provided is Jaleel read an article that stated that children are watching too much TV. It stated that between 10 to 12 years old watch 20 hours a week. He wanted to know if this data was true for his class. So he surveyed his classmates to find out how much TV they are actually watching per week. Using the data that he collected, decide on the scale and create 2 bars for each category. We're going to do one for girls and one for boys. All right. So for our title, what can a title be for this? Yes, Amy, good job. We can title this hours of TV watched per week. Yeah? All right, and as you see, we already have down here for our categories, it is hours, so for hours, and then our y-axis, number of students. So for the hours, we have between 0 and 5 hours, between 6 and 10 hours, between 11 and 15 hours, between 16 and 20 hours, and the number of students, I just did it by 2s. Again, you can do this when you create your own. You can do it whatever fits best for you. After you collect your data and I would see how high it gets. So how many hours, if someone says 20 hours, I would try to, and then someone says as low as no hours, then a good increment could be 5s, could be 2s. It's up to you. But for this one, I just did us already for our class to do it together. Hours, number of students, 2, 4, 6, 8, all the way up to 30. So with our information already right here, let me show you. So we're gonna need first our key box down here. Let's do purple for girls, green for boys. Okay, so we got purple girls, green boys. So for the first one, let's start off with the girls. So we have to find all of the girls who watched TV for between 0 and 5 hours a week. So let's see, we got 1, 2, 3. I see only 3. Okay, so let's see, we went by 2s, so we got to go between the 2 and the 4. Let's get 3. All right. And then it says between 6 and 10 hours. So here's 1 for girls, 2, 3. So 3 again. So let's go again between the 2 and the 4. Make our graph. And then let's do 1 for the boys between 0 and 5. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4. So we got 4 between 0 and 5 hours for the boys. So we're going to go all the way to the 4. Make our graph for the boys. Okay, so for the sake of the video, I just went ahead and finished, but we would finish it with the class. We would look at all of the data. So this is all of the girls' information of hours watched per week between 0 and 5 hours, 6 to 10, 11 to 15, and between 16 and 20. And then to interpret some of this data, they would answer some questions. They would answer, does the data from Jalil's class reflect the findings presented in the article that he read? Explain your thinking. Yes, why? And then write a conclusion statement about TV viewing time from this class that can be supported using this data. And if you were to conduct a study to find out more about TV viewings of habits of the class, what other questions would you ask? So I would be looking for things like, girls, I noticed girls watch more TVs or boys watch more TVs, etc. Because in the data it shows such and such, or between most of the students, have an average of between 11 and 15 hours a week. That's boys and girls, etc., etc. And then after we go over this data and answer these questions, then I will hand out students their own sheets to create their own data. So they would be able to, they already have boys' names, girls' names, and then they can choose their category of what they want. So I would give them some time to go around the classroom, ask their certain question. First, I would check off, what kind of title and category they would want to do. And once they then they would go around asking, they would write down, the student's name and the answer to whatever they're asking. Favorite color, favorite sport, favorite food, favorite, ice cream. They can do this one if they want for their own class as well. Hours of TV watched per week. They can do that as well. So then I would give them time to, go around, do that. And then I would give them questions to interpret their own graph when they were done creating their bar graph. And it would be, how does the data match with your predictions? On which predictions were you close? On which were you way off of? What's a conclusive statement about your graph that can be supported by your data? Make a hypothesis of why you think that's true. And if you were to conduct a follow-up study on your hypothesis, what question would you want to ask? So then I would let them answer that, and then I would have their graph on their table. And if we had, the time, I would let them go around looking at each other's graph and data and analyzing, letting them, have some talk about their graphs and the information that they got for each of their graphs. And then also the whole time I would have up this anchor chart for them. It's again just to make sure that they have all components of the graph, which would be the title, the y-axis, the x-axis, the category, the scale, and also it tells them again why they need that information to do their graph. And then lastly, for an exit ticket, for their exit ticket, they would each get this picture of double bar graphs. It's 2 completely different double bar graphs. The first one is favorite book genres. So you have fantasy, science fiction, romance, etc. And then boys are blue, girls are orange, number of students. This one is population of Canadian cities. So this is a population 10 million, 20 million, 30 million, 40 million. These are the different cities, Vancouver, Montreal, etc., etc. Population in 2011 is purple, and population in 2018 is green. So they would each, they would each get this paper, and then they would have it would be a maze. To get to the end of the maze, they would have to highlight each answer. So this is the answer key, but they would get the ones, you know, not highlighted. So it's going to ask questions. How many boys said fantasy was their favorite book genre? So they would have to choose between, was it 6 boys, 12 boys, 11 boys? So they're interpreting their data that's on this graph. So in this graph for boys, fantasy was 11. So they would have to find the correct number, highlight it or circle it, and then it would go to the next question. And then such and such, they would either have to choose between the 3 answers, highlight the correct answer, and then follow the graph until they get to the finish of the maze. So they have this one, and they also have one for the population of Canadian cities. And depending on time, they can get to do both, or they can get to do one and work on the other later for a homework assignment maybe or something. But that is my data analysis for 5th grade. Thank you for watching.